The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode 80 of the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. I am Duncan. Tonight I am joined by
Dan,
Jack,
John.
Yep, we're running a little short tonight, folks. But tonight is a special episode. It is our 80th episode, and it also comes down to our 2-year anniversary of doing the podcast. We are looking forward to that.
Celebration sounds and stuff.
Yay, celebration. So before we go any further tonight, here's a word from our sponsors and a thank you from our patrons, or for our patrons.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HERESYABB at checkout.
Right, and now that we're back from that, again, thank you to all the patrons out there who have chipped in for everything. We really do appreciate you all. Let's go to hobby. John, kick us off.
Okay, I had to make a list since I missed last episode.
oh my god!
Oh dear.
Yeah, so on the bright side,
Somebody wake
one of
me
the
up.
reasons that kind of kicked off this giant hobby. Do what?
Wake me up when you're done, sir.
All right. So one of the things that kicked off this hobby spree was I actually am starting a job tomorrow. So I got hired at the company that laid me off, and so I'll be starting a position, still working remote, still doing my pre-sales things. So I'm definitely happy about that. So because of that, I decided I needed to kind of clean up everything that's been going on in the house, and obviously, kind of rearrange some things and move some of Christina's stuff around and donate things as I've been going around. Because of that, I decided to do the one thing that I have kind of always put off, and that's go through all of my paint. Anyone who's ever kind of understood me, I buy a lot of paint. Anytime a new company comes out, I try to buy a couple colors. Or if I'm starting a new project, I go ahead and buy the paint for the project ahead of time. Or if a new weathering thing catches my eye, I go ahead and buy what I'm thinking about buying. And sometimes I forget that I bought a thing, and then I buy it the next time I go back into the store. So I had a lot of paint. And it took about a day to get it all together, to get it all sorted on my bed, and then kind of organized how I wanted to put it up. And then I started putting it away. And this was leading up to War Dome. And then the Wednesday leading into War Dome, my back started getting a lot tighter, and then I kind of started spasming. And so leading into War Dome, I was kind of injured. Didn't do great at War Dome, I'll be honest. I was kind of take it a little easy. I did play 4 out of the 5 games that they had scheduled, and we had a good 3 games day 1, where I played against Death Guard, and then I played against Word Bearers, and then I sat the 3rd round out, and then the next day we had a 2v2, me and Gabe from the Wednesday Hump Day painting events, and myself, 2 Ultramarines against 2 Death Guard players, and then game 4 was just a kind of a giant apocalypse game where everyone kind of put together, and we played long ways. I'm glad to report that Loyalists won that game. And then while I was there, I went ahead and donated some stuff on behalf of the Accountabilibuddies, some Turbo Dork paints that I'd found while I was cleaning up everything and kind of rearranged some things, as well as a couple mission model paints that I was not needing anymore. And then going into the next week, I kind of finished putting up a lot of the dropper bottle paints that don't really fit in this kind of drawer system that Christina had found at Hobby Lobby that works really well for holding all the GW and P3 sized paint bottles. And so I put all the GW and P3 paints away, and then put half of the dropper bottles away, and ordered 2 more nail polish bottle holders that fit on behind a door to put in my room. And so now my room will have 2 of these racks, and the kind of home office that Christina was using / library as 2 already that are full. And hopefully this will be all of my paint completely organized and completely sorted. Once that was kind of set up, I'm just waiting for my folks actually to come over and help me put up the final 2 racks. But while I was waiting on them to kind of figure out when they could come, I set about organizing all of my basing bits. And as you know, I have a lot of those. And so I have this rolly shelf that kind of moves around my office, and it's just been kind of holding crap and really hasn't been organized. And so I completely reorganized it from top to bottom. So now the bottom is all the pre-painted, ready to go stuff. The middle is all the bases themselves, and then the next shelf up is all the tools to work on bases. And so now everything like that is ready to go. Then I went ahead and organized all of my Marine and Cobra militia bits, and organized them by type, and for Cobra, I organized them by what unit they build. And so I've got each individual container organized and labeled. I went with Daiso brand containers. They're a lot like the Plano ones, but they're found at the Japanese dollar store that I like to frequent to buy terrain parts at. I found out that they have Plano-like containers that are $1 a piece, and then they have ones that are half the size of a battle foam tray for $3. And so I loaded up on a lot of those, and that way I can put in my magnetic bits that are pre-painted, and that way I just throw them into a bag, and I have all my Predator sponsons and all my Javelin parts and things like that all together. And then all of the HISS tanks that I talked about before arrived this week, and I got those organized. And then I'd ordered some Mad Robot parts a while ago so I could start trying to organize the Recon for more or less Rite of War that is in the new Beta Garmin book for Solar Ox. And so the Mad Robot bits fit perfectly inside these little HISS tanks, and so I'll be able to build these into Sentinels. Now I've just got to figure out something that works for the turret gunner. My collector's edition of Rogue Trader that I ordered sometime last year finally arrived. Then I finished building the Thunderjaw model that I'd been working on kind of all throughout last year, kind of to use as an NPC for some of the events that I might be running in the future, which then leads me into this past weekend where I actually ran a 1-day 8-person event, kind of directly linked to some of the Fearix campaign stuff that's been going on. I dug out the old Battle Missions book from 5th edition. Y'all might remember. I've really never got to play those missions themselves, but I've kind of always come back to those as far as like inspiration for apocalypse events. And I took 2 of the Necron missions out of that. One of them is about the defending player sets up in the middle of the board, 12 inches away from every board edge, and then the attacking player arrives from a secretly written down board edge, and they fight for a couple of objectives that are scattered in the middle. And then I put another one on there where you divide the table into thirds and you fight through it. But I went ahead and added in another element that's anytime the traders, because they're the ones that are attacking, were turning on the objectives, that started an orbital bombardment. For each objective that the traders had was 1 orbital bombardment, which was strength 6 AP4 pinning. And so that started, causing some havoc and some things that going around. Since I wasn't playing in that event, I went ahead and brought in all of the Hydra Marvel Crisis Protocol tanks that Jack and the other Accountability buddies were nice enough to help me find during Adepticon 2023, and I got all those assembled while I was monitoring games during the weekend. And I could go into a little bit more about kind of how I wrote those missions. I left a couple things vague because we're kind of in the play testing for these missions and how we're going to work on them a little bit later. Where they'll kind of be event-based missions and less, when you do small one-day events, it's more like, everyone just kind of line up and have fun and game. But I kind of want to make something that's a little more themed around some of the things that I'm going to be building a little bit later. So I'm going to be kind of play testing these as we go forward. So that is everything that I got set up. And then while we're doing the podcast tonight, I'm going to be organizing those HISS tanks and making sure I've got enough bits either on order from Mad Robot or from Elric's Hobbies to get some more bases so I can start working on this recon company. That is everything I went through. I know that was a lot.
That was a lot.
So I will poke Jack and make him go next.
Howdy, all. This week, the big thing that I did was start back working on the Mastodon. That kind of got away from me with pre-Adepticon, then post-Adepticon. Got a little discouraged with it because for one side, I used a rattle can to do my primer on it, and it got all speckled. So I had to strip it and then start over again. So I remember now why I don't use a rattle can for most of my stuff. Past that, I posted a podcast last week, and today I plan on posting another podcast. Dan, what have you been up to, man?
Yeah, so the fact that I'm running a D&D game every week is really taking up a bunch of my time. So I've not been hobbying again, still running, mostly just working on D20, Roll20, doing maps and stuff for the D&D game when I get a free time to do anything. So one of these days I get back at it, but been pretty barren in the painting hobby lately. So not much. So with that, we'll move on to Duncan.
Right. So I've actually had a somewhat productive week this week. I am now up to, I think it's 50 of the World Leader Rampagers at least have bodies built. 20 of them still need to have their arms put together, assembled for their weapons and whatnot. They're not painted yet, but I've got them assembled. And on Wednesday night's hobby hangout, I actually got started on working on a custom Praetor for the World Leaders. I had a spare Karn that I acquired from a friend. So I got the head from Karn. I got the crest from the Age of Darkness Praetor from the Age of Darkness box. And I got one of the Trader Champion console models, bodies, and I've put all that together to where it looks World Eatery. And I've carved off all the Sons of Horus. I have Horus symbols off of it. So it definitely still looks tradery, but it doesn't look Horus dedicated. And I've got him assembled. I've got him put on a wonderful cork like all the rest of my stuff and ready for paint. Hopefully for the rest of this week, I'll get the other 20 guys to have their arms all ready, and then I'll have backpacks stuck on sprues so I can get them all primed this week, maybe, depending on how everything goes. That's my hope, so that I can actually start officially painting on them this week. I'm going to try to batch it 10 dudes at a time. We'll see how that goes for me, and if it works out, I have faith. But beyond that, I've got some other stuff I've been planning on. I've got a Warhound Titan that I'm planning to try to start assembly of when I don't feel like painting this next month, and try to get that painted up for Legio Audax.
Do you have brass rods yet?
No, I don't. I actually have. I've ordered some from Amazon. I do not have any brass rods for it yet, but I did order them. I'm gonna try. I ordered a new bit for my drill so I can sit there and put that into them, because that's going to be a big thing I'm going to have to get done.
I would also recommend that do 2 of those inch wide magnets for the torso. That way you can detorso it and make it easier to transport.
Yep, I was thinking about that.
I got a couple 25-pound pull ones I was using in my arms for my custom built ones that work great for torsos.
Yep, I'm going to order some stuff from the Magnet Baron this week as well for the magnets I'm going to use, because I'm going to magnetize the torso, and I'm going to magnetize the head and arms so that I can get that to work out. But that's all my hobby stuff this week.
So that'll take us on into news.
Yes,
so on the GW front, sadly, we kind of like we talked about last time I was on, we had the end of the Heresy Thursday posts, but today GW posted for pre-order next week is going to be their anniversary. It's White Dwarf 500. There's going to be a neat little merch box for $180 US. You get a hoodie, a little metal poster, a shirt, a writing book, and 6 postcards. If that's not GW pricing, I don't know what is.
I'm sorry. Would you say the contents of that again? You get a hoodie, and what else?
A hoodie, a shirt, a metal poster, a booklet with the words Warhammer 5 or White Dwarf 500 on it, and then 6 postcards.
Man, that's okay.
Yeah. Yep. It's the only way to get that metal poster, though. So, and the hoodie and
I'm wondering about the hoodie. The hoodie and the shirt's what I'm wondering about.
So the shirt is white. They're all 3 are Grombadal, the White Dwarf himself. The shirt is Grombadal from issue, I think it was 300, the one that had the movie Marines in it.
Oh, okay.
And because I recognize that art because I looked at the issue so many times. And then the hoodie is the issue 500 art, which is a little more Age of Sigmar-y Grombadal. And also Grombadal is coming out in plastic for pre-order next week as well.
Ooh, nice.
The 6 postcards are the first 6 issues of White Dwarf, which is kind of neat. I was hoping they would just be reprints of the first 6 issues of White Dwarf.
That would have been cool.
That would have made it worth it.
But these are just the cover art?
Yeah, just postcards of the cover art.
That's still pretty cool.
Yeah. Also coming up for pre-order is Legionis Imperialis Stormhammers, Malcadors, Dracosans, Sicarans, Legion Fast Attack, which includes Proteus Speeders, Javelin Speeders, Outriders, and Jet Bikes, Dreadnought Drop Pods, and then some Middle-earth terrain. And then...
Did you say the Stormhammer too?
Inhale to say this. Yeah, the Stormhammer for Imperialis.
That is such a... I want the big version of that model so bad.
I built the one based on the old Epic where it was a double-turreted, longer Baneblade. But the other thing coming up for pre-order is Darktide, the miniatures game based upon the video game Darktide, which is inspired by the Warhammer 40,000 tabletop RPG or tabletop game.
Did you say something about Spaceballs?
I just love when you go like 3 layers deep and you get a game based on a game that was based on a game. Yeah. In the game is what looks to be re-releases of some of the Blackstone Fortress models, as well as some of the freebie models that came out a while ago, and then some Chaos Cultists. It looks like a neat little hex game, but not something that's up my alley. If you want some, at least they got the really cool Psyker in there with the flamethrower. I thought she was a really good Sister the Silent stand-in. If you want to do a Persecutor Squadron, that's a good way to get her out of that. That's all official GW. Unofficial GW, Starforged has started a YouTube channel, so you can see things that are coming out soon. It looks like it's about a 7-day lead time when they post a video, and then it comes up on the website. And then on the website dropped this week was the Aquila key hanger. And I ordered one of these to put my keys on because I thought it'd be funny. It comes with 3M sticky tape stuck to the back of it. It doesn't come with like a screw hole. So I worry a little bit about how sturdy this thing's going to be holding up, longer keychains and things like that.
Okay.
And
am I wrong, or did we also see a new one of the Joy Toy horse size, whatever the hell they are?
So it looks like we may have gotten Joy Toy Justarin and Abaddon.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Okay, those were on the same page. I didn't know if we talked about them or not, as well as Mark IV Sons of Horus.
Yeah. So the quest to eventually play big 30K continues.
I'll be honest, as much toy terrain as you can get at like a dollar store or a Goodwill or something like that, or Rage Your Kids stuff for G.I. Joe scale things. Kill Team in that scale would be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
That's what I'd say. I like I said, I've got a couple of them, and they're really cool, posed on the shelf and things. And then every now and then I'm pull them down and make them go "Rah," and bash them into each other. But that's.
I mean, isn't that what all of us really do, even with like little scale models that we have right now for 40K or 30K?
Oh yeah, I mean, when I'm painting my Xiphon, I'm making zooming and pew 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 noises.
Every single flyer I have.
Yep, I constantly make chain X noises when I'm building chain X's on dudes. So yeah, I understand all too well.
I mean,
if you don't do that, they roll badly.
Pew pew, but
exactly. I mean,
if you don't do that, they'll roll really badly, man.
I mean, look, we're all grown adults, or mostly grown adults, playing with tiny toys. So yeah, have fun with your hobby, however you're gonna.
Lately, it's overgrown adults, I think, for me.
I mean, that's fair. I will note one thing. The End of the Death Volume 3 has finally hit paperback for those who have not read it and did not get it in digital or hardback. So there's that. Anything else come out, or does that pretty much sum everything up?
That's everything right now. Again, we're kind of, since we're hitting, tournament season and things like that, it's kind of slow goings right now.
I'll agree with you there.
Still waiting for official release date for the Command Squad.
Well, I'm pretty sure we've got official release dates for stuff eventually coming for most of the summer up into, I believe we're in the middle of Q2 for GW. Is that right?
I thought their fiscal year ended in June or May. So when this...
we might be in the middle of
Q4. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, my bad. We're close to the end of Q4 for GW.
Yeah.
So I would expect probably about June-ish, we'll start hearing rumblings of more stuff coming down the pipeline to us eventually, and get ideas of what we may have coming up. Anybody got anything specific they're hoping for other than our generic wish listing?
New roadmap.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think a roadmap would probably be the best thing to do right now, as well as some of the things that we've, again, wish listed for.
Yeah.
The missing plastic Sicarans, and things like that.
Generic Praetors for the Legions.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, cool. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we'll get stuff thrown to us that we can start talking about it eventually. So guys, it's been 2 years. We've been podcasting for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And as much fun as it has been, I'm sure we've all got individual thoughts on how everything is gone, how everything is going currently. We've had multiple cast fluctuations go on. We've had people come, people go, people join, people leave. We've gone through intros, different music at the start that we were rotating when we first started off. Different editor. Now Jack has taken that over from when Jacob was doing that for us, and thank you for doing that, Jack.
My pleasure.
I kind of want to do mostly an introspection tonight, if you guys are up for it, and kind of see what we each are still feeling about the Heresy in general, the podcast in general, what we'd like to see going forward for ourselves and for the cast. And John, go.
All right, sure. Heresy in general, I think, is... I know usually I'm the doom and gloom kind of guy, so why break the mold? No, I think it's good. I don't think it's perfect. I think I saw a post by Tim from Aya Horus where he was starting to run what he calls kind of second tier events, where he's only letting people that play Militia, Solar Ox, and non-Myrmidon Mechanicus to come, and he said it feels like an entirely different game, and I can honestly say that that's correct. With what I've played with the Solar Ox and Militia different events, and again, it's because I'm jumping around. You can say, oh, you don't know the army, in and out. And you're right. But playing Myrmidon Heavy Mechanicus or Space Marines, where you where you specifically push into certain things, it's got the problem of it's really easy to play. And so it seems that if you're going into Solar Ox and Militia and Violence, probably you're fighting an uphill battle. And so the question becomes, especially since we've got them in plastic, how many people are going to be looking to make that investment into the models if they know it's an uphill fight? And I'll be honest with you, especially since the Recon Sentinels dropped, and they're not cheap. They're $65 for 2, and you need 3 of them to make a full squad. And the list that I built has 24 of them in it, as well as 9 Russes and 2 Thunderbolts and some other stuff. That's not a cheap army. And I'll admit, I'm kind of leaning hard into Oops All Sentinels as much as I can, but you're looking at a heavy investment if you go into these other armies. So the question kind of is, is the Heresy camp going to kind of start looking at some of those type of events, or are we going to hope that GW pushes some of the more killiness into those books? I don't know. Like I said, I think the game is good. I think it can be better, but the problems are in trying to get people into the game that never wanted to play, that wanted to play the non-Marine factions, and you turn them to the non-Marine factions, and you go, it's an uphill fight if you want to do that. We've also got people that are looking at abandoning 40K because of problems with 10th edition. We're not going to talk about some of the controversies that have gone on since 10th edition has come out, but they exist. And so there's definitely people looking to jump ship because of those things are happening. And obviously we welcome them with open arms as long as they're, willing to come into the game and leave and play it as it is, and not try to take it too competitive or push hard into things that, maybe necessarily don't need to happen. We can talk through all those things. So it's definitely, and I think I say this every time we come up with, how do you feeling? I feel like we're at a crossroads again. I feel like I enjoyed the Beta Garmin book. It had some issues with the Opte not being completely understandable of why it exists, and some of the Solar Rock stuff not being great. Looking at the Heavy Sentinel versus Russes and things like that. But I think I would give Heresy a passing grade, maybe edging into a B-.
Okay. And the cast itself?
The cast itself, I think I've said before, is I had a little cast that started up when 40K Radio had kind of put out the call for pilot episodes for friends that were looking for things, and we were specifically targeting Apocalypse and talking through that, since that was the type of gaming we like to play a lot. And that's where I met Jamie. And then he and I kind of got together through 40K Radio and met at Games Day. And then that kind of kept me in 40K, and then obviously coming into 30K. And the gaming group I was with at the time was doing a lot of jumping between games. And then Christine had kind of pushed me more into, well, I like those blue guys, you should paint them more. And so that kept me into Heresy, which, RFI, and kept me into that, and met y'all guys through Covenant of Fire, and we made the Accountabilibuddies. And honestly, this is one of the most welcoming and friendly groups that I've ever been in. You'd see this year and all the things that have happened, and how we've been together through that. I think I really enjoy the cast, and I don't think I could think of a better way to spend my Sunday nights. I really like talking to people. I've met so many people at Adepticon and even at local events that are like, "Oh yeah, hey John," I think Karl and Independent Characters had said at one time, he said, "I can't talk to people in public anymore about what I'm working on because they already know." And so I pulled out my phone at Adepticon. I was like, "Yeah, I've been painting these guys," and they go, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "Oh, yeah, you do." And so, I like our audience. I like talking to people, but we're just gamers, and we like talking. And so, I keep it up. Anybody that sees us at events, or keeps coming to our Fearix events, or the events that I'm going to start running more of. I love the cast. I'm glad we're doing it, and you said 2 years earlier, and it's one of those, like, it feels like it's been less and longer at the same time.
That's fair. That's fair. Dan?
So, Game of Heresy, I'm kind of ambivalent right now as far as the state of the game. I'll be the first to admit that the game is not what draws me to events. It's the people and the hobby and talking about modeling projects and seeing cool armies, and playing the game is there, and it's almost like a necessary evil of going to events for me, if that makes sense. Not really. I enjoy throwing dice. I enjoy playing the game. I'm not particularly good at it, no matter what the rule set. Part of the reason that draws me to the narrative, not to mention I just love the story-driven D&D campaign, get yourself out of reality, and style games across the board. I do think that the rule set has been around long enough that it really disappoints me that there's some glaring issues that aren't in any way being seemingly looked at or addressed on the rule side from Games Workshop. I do think we may want different things and have different choices of models to come out, but I think there's been a steady release of cool models. Plastics have let a lot more people get into it. There's and probably along the B minus C plus kind of area too for the state of the game. And the community, which is completely separate, I think is awesome, right? Filling up every game we could pretty much at Adepticon again, hearing about how many people are going to weekend events, how many new areas are growing, Heresy events and grow leagues and that sort of thing is awesome. So, as always, the Heresy community is an A plus, just across the board. And as far as the podcast, I like what we're doing. I love jumping on and talking. I love, a couple of our recent guests have been really cool to talk to, right? The Legion cast dudes, I had never really listened to their podcast at all, and I'm going back, and it's very interesting to to go back through the lore and hear their take on the stories, and it's kind of renewed my interest in those older books that I thought, I read and done with, and I got everything out of, and now I'm getting more out of it. I love sitting and talking to all you guys. I love the fact that there are people out there who listen to us and know what's going on. I do want to get back to the point where I'm painting a lot more. But that's me. And my kid going off to college in fall will probably drive me to have a little more free time and force me to do a little more of that. But yeah, it's hard to believe it's been 2 years. I have not been on near all 80 episodes. I've been on a lot more recently. I know I took kind of a break in the middle kind of parts there. There's had a lot going on in life, but it's been cool to get back into it and come and talk. I love the community and the folks that I podcast with on here. Obviously, a small sampling of that. And as John said, started with the Accountability Buddies chat group and, getting online and doing hobby sessions together. And so, being able to hang out with you guys at every Sunday night is awesome. Even if I'm not doing Heresy and I'm doing D&D stuff, it's still cool. So, Yeah, it's amazing that it's lasted this long, and I don't see any reason why it shouldn't continue for the next 2 years. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got. So I don't know, Jack or Duncan, who wants to take next?
I'll go next. What's the question again?
How do you personally feel about Heresy, where it stands right now? And how do you feel about the podcast, where it's been, where it's at, and where you think it should go and is going?
Okay. See here about heresy in general. It's the friendships that are the most important thing to me. Everything else is a means to hang out with my friends. I enjoy the game. I think heresy is on the cusp of being in a really good spot. I don't think, not to sound negative, I don't think we are there quite yet. This with all the supply chain issues, this not blaming GW, this globally right now, the supply chains are still jacked up when it comes to a lot of things, and people are still trying to find their footing post pandemic. I really think we're on the cusp of being in a really, really great spot. We have new people coming in, which is fantastic. I saw a lot of repeat players at Adepticon this year that when I talked to last year, it was their first Adepticon, first Heresy events, so on and so forth. So the fact that they're coming back year over year is a fantastic thing. The fact that we're growing year over year is a fantastic thing. The fact that with Adepticon, with the new venue, hopefully that means more space, which is a fantastic thing. I think all the keys are there to continue to grow and promote this game. The stewardship. We have to make sure we stay on top of the stewardship of this game and make sure that we continue to invite people in, make this a welcoming community, and make sure it's the type of game system that all the friendships that we have. It continue to be that way with everybody that comes into this. Making sure that the community is taken care of to the best of our ability. As far as this podcast, 2 years in, 80 episodes in, just some rough numbers. Unfortunately, I don't have multiple screens right now in front of me, but we've had the YouTube channel for a little bit over a year. All the episodes on there, along with painting guides. Best video so far on there is the review of Harbor Freight. The best podcast that I put on there, that we put on there, is the Beta Garmin one that had the quickest, most views, and along with I think the second most comments. John's Decals 101 is the best short that we've done. This go off the top of my head, I think we have somewhere around the tunes for the last 365 days, somewhere to a tune of like 700 or 800 watch hours, 112 subscribers on the podcast thing, on the actual, just audio podcast. We average, a couple hundred downloads in the first 14 days. Best episode was, again, the Beta Garmin one, to no by surprise for both cases. That's just the numbers, because I if anybody's like me, they love the behind the scenes numbers when it comes to stuff like that. As far as the podcast, somehow I inherited editing the show. I'm not really sure how. I don't even know how to speak English or Scandinavian. So I'm not sure how I ended up here, but luckily I can click buttons good. And it's a brotherhood. Like I think the world of everybody that's on here right now. Jamie, Jacob, Brian, Little Bri. God, Little Bri. You all my brothers, and we could sit here and talk about the finer points of painting horse portraits. And I would still hop on here every Sunday night and hang out with you guys. The hobby hangout that we're doing every Wednesday is hilarious. The Miss joins in. She doesn't say anything. When I put it on mute, she'll sit there and talk smack about people, mainly Duncan. But it's
I'm not surprised.
But it's
I don't know why you mute. I don't know why you mute that. We might get the most views of any of our episodes if you let that go.
Because
Yeah, I think a few people
cry.
have asked for it.
But
I might cry. That's probably why.
Oh my god!
Sorry to interrupt.
You're good. But it's like I wouldn't do all the extracurricular stuff for the podcast if I didn't enjoy it. I think that we'll continue to put out a outstanding subpar product every single week, because that's who we are. But I hope we continue to help the community grow as much as we can, and anything that we can do to help that, we'll do within reason. I'm not going to drive to for someplace I don't want to drive. North Dakota, because it's cold up there.
Louisville.
Louisville. I will not drive to Louisville, but I will gladly help do anything, like, reach out to anybody that I know. Like, if somebody wants to know how to put more decals on, I'll tell John to make another video. If I want somebody to, if somebody needs help, putting together 87 bodies, again, I'll reach out to John and have him make a video. If anybody needs to know how to come up with a whole entire, displaced theme and, theme for an army, again, I'll reach out to John and have him make a video. Do you see a routine here?
Yeah, kind of seeing a little bit.
Jack, you're good at a lot, Jack. Don't sell yourself short. We couldn't have done this without, again, all your editing. You say you don't do it very well, but I have listened to our past episodes, and I do think you do very well in editing. And the videos that you put together with how to paint those things and reviewing the Harbor Freight, I've been way behind on doing the reviews that I promised for some of the bags that we've gotten and things like that. So yeah, don't sell yourself short.
I appreciate it, sir.
But you do a lot, Jack.
Yeah. But, like I said, I do it because I like hanging out with my friends. Duncan, hopefully I wasn't too negative during any of that, so bring us back home.
No. I'm absolutely certain you were as negative as you needed to be, and for that I'm overly joyful. Let me see here. The easiest way I can put it for myself is I think that the Heresy, kind of like Jack, is on the cusp of being in a very, very good spot. I think a lot of what we have right now is in a good spot. I think going forward, we could obviously use more everything. But that said, I would just like to see a bit more community involvement from GW, them being more on it with facts, as we have mentioned in the past. More releases that are Heresy focused. Like I said, the individual Praetors, I think we desperately need those. But again, I think Heresy's actually in a predominantly good place. We've got plastic solar rocks. We've got multiple different sets of boxes you can use for Marines. You've got the battle forces. You've got the Legion of Astartes battle groups. You've got the Age of Darkness box. You've got the two different flavored ones for the Astartes. Hopefully, we have one coming up sometime this year, similar for Mechanicum. I'd really like to see that.
Yep.
I'd like to see more stuff come out for for Limp. Legion Imperialis. I don't play Legion Imperialis. I have no intention of playing Legion Imperialis. But I see places that stuff from Legion Imperialis can be used and ported over. Both using ideas for campaign stuff, like using the little dudes for a map campaign. I'm not certain if we're quite rating of an A- for the Heresy as a whole. I think the idea of a strong B to a B plus is very, very, very positive. I really want to see more novels coming out because I want to see GW continue supporting this era of the Warhammer universe. I want to see scouring stuff. I really want to see more fluff and more fiction for this era. That's what initially drew me into playing 40K as a whole. Was the aesthetic, and then that's what drew me into Heresy was more of the aesthetic and the novels and everything else. And by God, I want to see more of that. Personally, I want to work on more models. I'm trying to keep my hobby motivation up this year to work on both the World Eaters, to have another World Eater army finished, to have the Titan finished, and to see about getting my basement tables done and the basement Heresy, so where we can start having some locals come over to my house, like other than just myself and Jack, and play Heresy when we want to, and not play it on older tables or older terrain that's been around for 20 plus years. Jack knows the places I'm talking about. I'd also really like to see more involvement, people wise. I love the fact that we have the hobby hangouts going on Wednesday nights, and we've topped out at this point. We've had 19 people involved one night.
Jesus.
This past week we had 16. It's getting big enough that we've had 2 people have now branched off, and that we now have a class hangout channel. We've got a couple people who have volunteered to run classes on Wednesday nights to help people with their hobbying. Airbrushing classes. We had Mike, one of our listeners, who, shout out to him and shout out to Turkey. Mike sat down this past week and went into the class channel and sat there and showed Turkey how to paint faces better. And I thought that was really cool of him. I know that Brian has, not Detroit Brian, but Texas Brian, has offered to do painting classes. Yes. No, please stop that. Please stop that. That doesn't need to make it into the cast.
He'll appreciate it.
I think that
if you don't come to the hangouts, you don't get all these weird inside jokes.
Yeah, there are a lot of inside jokes that pop up, and you get to spend time hanging out with us in not quite as filtered an environment as we would normally have for the cast. And you get to hear some really hot takes on opinions and things. But the one thing I'm most proud of is that we've been really hobby positive, and everyone who's been coming to those hangouts has also continued being positive about everything going on. And that segues for me into the cast. One thing I like that we've really done, I know we started off with all coming from the Accountability Buddies. That was the Covenant of Fire Accountability Buddies. Shout out absolutely to Pretty. Shout out to Jake for forming the original nucleus of this group that came together, that we have branched off from. I love both those guys. I consider them wonderful friends. And for me, Heresy, the Heresy community, and this podcast is all about the friendship. I don't care if I'm sitting here building Marines. I'm going to build the Marines anyway because it's my hobby and I like doing it. I could be sitting here playing Tiddlywinks, playing a game of solitaire, sharpening a knife, scratching my ass for all I care, as long as I get to hang out with my friends.
Dirty word.
And going to events, is exactly what I don't really care about the results of the games. I could win, I could lose, I could draw, I could get table stomped in turn 1. I don't care. I have fun hanging out with people who I meet through this hobby, who I've met through this hobby. And like Jack, like all of you, I love seeing it grow with more people involved and positive involvement.
There's
the fact
another
that
thing
we
that I like to
gone up. That was awesome. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I like that we're giving back to the, not just to the community, but to other people too. So one of the things that War Dome is doing is they're starting a 501c3 to help fund gaming groups in schools and making sure that they have everything that they need to get off the ground, from terrain to models to everything. And so they're going to start. This was kind of the kickoff event, was to kind of start raising money for that going forward. And I like that we do that, and that we gave back to David, that I was the recipient this year, and appreciated that immensely, that we're, not just helping our own community, but also reaching out and helping others.
I agree there.
I think that's great.
One thing that, I'm going to touch on it. Last year we did the 3 posters that we pretty much donated to Adepticon. Everybody who was at Adepticon who was running a Heresy event or was attending a Heresy event last year, and by that I mean 2023, got a free poster. And then we split the proceeds, go with half or more of it going to help David Coleman's fiance. This year, we split proceeds with them and then helped John out again. And I'm absolutely overjoyed that the new art and the shirts and everything did that again to help John. Please, listeners, Heresy aficionados, gamers out there, let's have a better year next year or this year. We don't want to have another tragedy to pull together for. Let's not do another tragedy, because while we will pull forward to help whoever is involved, we don't want to have to. We want everyone to be safe and happy and healthy.
Yep.
But I will.
That means taking care of yourselves too. I've noticed that I was getting, we're not, our hobby involves sitting down a lot, and a lot of us have jobs that involve sitting down a lot. But make sure you're spending time to walk and take care of yourself, and look after what you're eating. Constant eating out is not really healthy.
Get your physicals done. Get your checkups done. Check your teeth. Shower. Wear deodorant.
Yep.
Take care of yourself so that the hobby can exist with you rather than exist without you.
Yeah. And if you're not feeling great mental wise, reach out to us or reach out to somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have all gone through various spots of hell in our lives. There's not a single one of us who haven't. I will personally sit here, and if you want to reach out to me on Discord, or you want to reach out to me on Facebook, or via the email, or whatever, I will happily sit here and listen and talk to you. I've done it for a couple people before. I will do it again. I've gone through hell to get here, and I'm still here. John's gone through hell. Life is not easy. Reach out to us. We're happy to do it.
Yeah. Horace didn't do it himself. He had a Mournival. And
Exactly.
when he became an idiot, he brought in extra Primarchs. You're not better than that. You can lean on your friends when you need to, and we're all here for everyone in the hobby and in the community, and just make sure we work together and build a brighter future that doesn't involve a bunch of backstabbing traitors.
Yeah, that's one thing we sign off with every single week, or we try to, is being accountable to yourself, to your hobby, and to your buddies. Reach out to your friends. See if they're okay. It doesn't hurt. And the worst that will possibly happen is they'll go, "No, man, I'm fine. I can't talk right now." Yep. Hey, you reached. You tried. That's the important part. Going forward, obviously, I want to see the podcast grow. I want to see more people get involved. I want to see more people come into our Wednesday night stuff. I want to see more people say, "Hey, John, that idea was really cool. I found this that complements that," and then us go, "Ooh, that's neat," and be able to present it to the community. I like seeing more involvement, community-wise, people-wise, more reach, more bringing people into the fold of hobby positivity going forward. I'm also looking forward to seeing what art we come up with for next year. I know we've already got some ideas for that, so we'll see where that goes. But for the most part, I'm really happy with the cast. I love sitting here on Sunday nights, hanging out with everybody, talking, shooting the shit. I miss people who have been on the cast and have left, and I like talking to them still. I like talking to Pretty. I like talking to Zach. I like talking to Jacob, and I still do all those things. The one thing that has been most important to me throughout the entire cast and the entire gaming, all of it, has been the friendships I've made. I've known Jack for 20 plus years. I've known Dan and John now for 10 plus years, I think, or close to. So I look forward to seeing how many more people I can consider a close friend going forward, and how many more people will consider me similar. So I look forward to the next 2 to 4 to 8 to 10 years of the cast. I hope that we can just sit here and keep this going for a long time, and that the listeners keep enjoying us.
We're only 97 podcasts away from catching up with Radio Free Istvan. If they don't put out
197.
No, not just
episodes,
97.
you mean?
No, just 97 episodes.
Ooh,
we'll do
97 episodes. Well, Monty, Derek, that's a challenge, buddies. Go ahead and throw some more stuff out there, please. We love
Calling you out.
Yeah, calling you out, guys. Go ahead and throw some more episodes up for us, please. And I'm also going to say this, because this is something that Dan touched on. I like the fact that getting involved in this and doing this cast has actually opened me up to hearing from other people whose casts I did not know existed. The Legion cast guys, I love them. I've been listening to them for a few months now, and I really enjoyed their episodes. I enjoy their takes on the fluff, because, like I said, originally that's what drew me to this. So them talking about novels, that's my jam, guys. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like everything about what we do. So I'm happy with us.
The one thing that I wonder, and we've kind of gone around formats and topics, and I think we've settled into something, but I wonder the folks that do listen to us, give us some feedback. Tell us what you like and don't like about what we're doing. I mean, not necessarily saying we're going to change at every whim, but I do, there's a part of this that wants me to help get more people interested and support more people in our hobby. So, to that end, if you pick up an episode here or there, you pick this one up because it's special anniversary label or something, throw some, jump on our Facebook page, send us jump on the Discord, send us some, what do you want to hear from us talking about? Is what we're doing is good? Is there something you'd rather we add or do different? Something like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll have John do it.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
If we don't get
played
recommendations, Jack will start making new songs.
There we go.
No. Jack is not allowed to make new songs. Just like I'm not allowed to write new fluff.
We've only called out one listener on the podcast, and that was because they were questioning why early on we had so many Ultramarines players, and it was a joke email anyway, so I feel pretty confident.
We called out Bryce when he won the event. We've called out Eric when he won.
Oh, I mean, call out negatively, making fun of people.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to do that. I mean, we understand that things are done in good fun, and we as a whole have tried to scale back the negativity, I think, as a whole, and I think we've done really well at that. And
I mean, jokingly negative when that one anyway.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to laugh at each other at how many of us play Ultramarines sometimes. So
I mean, I'm surrounded by them. I mean, there's 4 of us here, and 3 of you play Ultramarines. So
where do you think I spent the last 2 weeks?
They were the most numerous Legion.
Yep.
Right. So now that's done. I want to remind everybody who's listening that we still have the contest going on. That contest will be going on through Tuesday of this week of the fluff piece for your army, your unit, your dude. Come up with something. Put it in the Discord. Put it in the Facebook.
I found all of the terrain to paint for that. I've been pulling all of the project pieces together to get it started. And what I've decided I'm going to do is once the winner is selected, I'm going to start a hobby blog and send Jack videos of every step of the process. And we'll put together videos for how the table is coming together to send off.
Wonderful. That's awesome.
I have something cool I want to do.
Okay.
Thank you, Morgan Evans, for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you, Ty Lindrill. I'm just going to call you Dave. Thank you, Dave, for joining our YouTube channel. And thank you, Velocity Raptor, for commenting on almost every single one of our videos, generally making fun of Duncan. I appreciate that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he doesn't make fun of you all the time, but he comments on a lot of our videos. And I comment
I know
back.
who that is. I can't remember though.
Are you no calling out people if so long as they're everything's good?
No.
Okay.
One thing I'm going to say is I'm going to go ahead and do an immediate shout out to all of our Patreons, every single one of you, as soon as I can figure out how to make this work.
D. Wilson 1282, you're welcome for the Falchion recommendation, Duncan. Thank you.
What? I must be confused.
He said, you're welcome for the Falchion recommendation. I'm going to say that I don't know. I don't know, Duncan. He just said you're welcome.
Okay. Well, thank you. You're awesome. I don't remember, but yeah.
But anyway, go ahead. Carry on.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up who our actual members are. Unfortunately, Patreon is being a bit of a
Well, first off, I'm going to say thank you.
I got
Dave.
to work finally.
Thank you, Dave. And thank you, Dave. If you don't get the Dave joke, listen to more the Mighty Jingles.
Okay. So I've got our Patreon list up, and we have 12 people. So I'm going to say thanks to every single one of them. Yep, 12. Justin Head, thank you.
Thank you. Dave.
I don't even know how to pronounce this one, so I'm just going to go with Dave. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Jason Driver, thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Jose Tejador, thank you.
Thank you, Jose.
Noise Marine, thank you.
Thank you, Noise
Gabe,
Marine.
thank you.
Gabe, thank you.
Mike Spector, thank you.
Mikey, thank you.
Bryce, thank you as well.
Thank you, Bryce.
Bryce is actually the one who won the Age Darkness giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
Our friend Ned Kelly, who sometimes appears on here. Thank you, sir. Luke Gibliski? I'm not certain how to pronounce that. So let's go with Luke. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you, sir.
Ed Tapman and Brian Byers, thank you all for being patrons. We're going to try to figure out some new stuff to do for you all soon. We'll see.
Okay.
Hopefully something will work.
Has Bryce done anything with that box set yet?
Bryce has been focused on the new baby that he and his wife had recently had.
Well, it's been that baby's at least 2 days.
He was looking at Ultramarines.
Is that what he was looking at, doing Ultramarines?
Yep.
Bryce,
and then Iron Hands, and he's kind of been flipping around.
Bryce, if you need any help with Ultramarines, I'll make John do it.
That sounds absolutely fair. That sounds absolutely.
He's going to come pick up some chrome paint for me later, anyway.
Oh, cool. So yeah, everybody out there who is an accountability buddy in any way, shape, form, or fashion, even if it's your first time listening, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for being hobby positive. Thank you for being part of the community. We look forward to introducing you to cool stuff as we go forward, and new stuff, and probably some of our old stuff that we might want to revisit. I know that someone recently asked about us going back and finishing up the Legion reviews, so we're probably going to get back to that soon-ish, maybe. I don't know. We have so many things that pull our attention. We have hobby ADD. I swear it.
Mm-hmm. I know.
No,
we just collect hobbies.
One of our hobbies is collecting other hobbies.
Just like collecting models is a hobby.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
I know one of the things that I'll be working on this year will be recording, painting Mastodon. That's something I'm planning on doing. I'm going to try to shame Duncan into recording, painting a Warhound Titan because that would be hilarious when he sends me.
I will make a deal with you on that one, Jack. I will agree to do that.
Okay, thank you. Well,
actually, I think just building and magnetizing it would probably be in and of itself a cool and useful recording.
It's 3D printed, so we're gonna have to see about that part too.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you know who we need to get to film a video for magnetizing a Titan? And we'll call him out right now.
Is it Jack? Because he magnetizes everything and anything?
I was going to say...
I'm pretty sure Jack magnetizes children.
I was going to say...
I don't have any Titans.
I mean, I magnetized my knight, but I found an online guide that I followed to do it in the first place, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, I've got some more knights to build, but they're not the magnetizing kind.
I do magnetize the waist of my knights to put them in the bases easier.
But okay,
fair.
Case.
So Duncan's
just like you're talking with the Titan.
Duncan's building and painting a Titan. I'm doing a Mastodon.
Yep, I'm also probably going to do a paint tutorial for how I paint world leaders.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I think we should all do a paint tutorial on how we do our main armies.
Yep, I agree. I think
so there's going to be 8 videos of painting blue. Got it.
Oof.
Yeah, that's fine. That way people know that there are different ways to do the same thing.
I mean, it's not.
And I'm looking for shortcuts to take on my Ultramarines too. Like as now that Monument Hobbies just released an Ultramarine blue, I'm looking very heavily into what that would look like on some of the Marines that I was building a couple of podcasts ago.
Oh,
if I can make a blend in.
I have completely changed my style from my vehicles and my dudes in the first place. So.
All right, and
shout out to the listeners if you record how you paint something and post it on your Instagram or something like that. That way you'll never forget how you did it, because I know I forgot how I painted my Ultramarines between 2 different batches, and that second batch was a different color.
So I'm going to go ahead and give a hobby tip here. One thing I personally do is I keep a Google Doc with my painting recipes, and I've been doing that for years now. I include each paint that I use for painting the various Legion. I include step-by-step how I do it in there. And if I change something because I find something that works better for me, I make note of that in a separate one. But I also keep a list of what all the paints are involved.
I can't see that. But if I link you to my Instagram, you can see how I do my OSL thrusters and how I do my Ultramarines blues and...
You're right.
Details and everything. So yeah, that's why I like doing it online. That way I can point people at it if they've got questions.
No, I mean, I think that's a good thing. I do mine this way because it helps me, but doing something like releasing painting guides for how we each do it, I think would be a very good thing going forward to do.
I have a notebook that I took on my notes at classes, and at some point it's not a Google Doc, it's just a Word doc, but I put all my notes and recipes and tips and everything together in a Word doc at one point in time for myself.
Good.
Okay. So, and is there anything else that we want to cover about our 2-year anniversary?
Yes. Yes, there is. I look forward to 2 years from now. I look forward to us doing more stuff. And I'm looking forward to episode 100 dropping this year and us doing something special for that.
I heard you're going to record nude.
Who says I'm not already?
Oh, hey Betty.
No, I don't have anything special right now, but I'm looking forward to what we all come up with.
Outstanding. John, you got anything?
I think that, like Duncan said, if you can hear our voice, you're an accountability buddy, just like us. And remember to stay accountable to your friends and your hobby and your buddies. And we'll talk to you next time.
See y'all.
Amen.
Good night.